leaving the chamber can do so quietly, and I give the call to the honourable member for Fowler in continuation.
We are living, so the clock, Mr Speaker, does it matter? Okay. We're living in a cost of living crisis. With the rising cost of fuel, food and petrol, it comes as no surprise that many pensioners are feeling the pinch and want the opportunity to earn more income to maintain a comfortable standard of living. According to a recent survey done by the Association of Superannuation Funds, only 6% of respondents believe the age pension level of about $40,000 a year was enough to retire on. 33% believe comfortable retirement standard of $65,000 a year would be enough. It's clear that Australians think the pensions alone isn't enough to help sustain the increased cost of living. However, under this new work bonus scheme, pensioners could accrue a total income bank of $11,800 a year, in which they are able to take seasonal shifts. This gives a potential income of $491 a week for pensioners if they were to work every week for 6 months, which is about 2 shifts a week. This scheme was originally meant to last for 7 months until June 2023. While this is a good solution for the short-term and seasonal workers, it doesn't do much in the way of incentivising seniors to stay in the workforce and to keep consistent shifts. National Seniors Australia have argued that the 6-month scheme is far too short to encourage uptake, and it requires time for the government to effectively communicate these new changes to both pensioners and businesses. Our business community, which is comprised of 98% small businesses, would also require the necessary multilingual resources to inform the senior and pensioners communities of these new work opportunities. However, I'm happy to say that after consultations with my office and the member for Mayo, Rebecca Sharkey, the government heard our concerns. The pilot scheme will now be amended to extend to until December 2023. In an electorate like Fowler, where nearly 77% of our residents use another language other than English at home, there must be a plan to ensure they are not forgotten by this new scheme due to lack of communication from the government. A 1-year pilot program would be long enough to educate and inform my pensioners and businesses who hail from many different cultural backgrounds, but also gives ample opportunities for new pensioners to also take up the scheme. This is definitely a step in the right direction. However, more can be done to incentivise seniors to re-enter the workforce. National Senior Australia has also raised that the $4,000 limit is far too low to truly incentivise seniors to participate overall, and is not nearly high enough to incentivise pensioners to navigate the complexities of Centrelink. The Department of Social Services had also reported that the original 6-month pilot may only result in an uptake of 1,000 extra workers a year, which is a ridiculously slim figure, considering we have over 470,000 job vacancies around Australia. What my constituents are calling for are consistent work opportunities, not only so they can put food on the table and increase their quality of life, but also so they can be productive citizens and feel like they're part of the community in which they live. I refer to my constituent Catherine Allen, who is 29 years of age, has 3 kids and is on a disability support pension. She's expressed her desire to work and contribute to the local economy. However, has found getting consistent work would reduce her pension to the point where it would be impossible to support her and her 3 children. With 3 mouths to feed, she says it's more financially viable to stay on the pension rather than to work, and has spent her time volunteering for local community groups instead. We must take a look at the entire pension system as a whole, instead of focusing on small schemes that only would benefit a few. It's unfair that pensioners like Catherine are scared of having their pensions taken away just because they want to give back to the community by working at their local cafe or giving a few extra days to a nursing home. If a pensioner were to use up the $11,800 workforce income bank, they're still allowed to earn $190 a fortnight on top of that. However, even this barely equates to a single day's work. If they exceed the $190 limit, their pension is reduced by 50 cents for every dollar earned over the income limit. This is a small little incentive for pensioners to take on a long-term job if they fear they could have their pensions docked for working extra hours. This would only drive pensioners to work in what the ATO refers to as, quote, the shadow economy, working cash-in-hand jobs that are unregulated and untaxable. I know this is very much the norm in the community of Fowler, where many prefer cash-in-hand jobs jobs, as they're deterred by the complex reporting mechanisms of Centrelink and aren't willing to risk their pensions for a few sporadic shifts over the year. The government must look to invest more into overhauling the pension scheme so people aren't afraid to work. In saying this, I appreciate measures taken in Schedule 1 and 2 of the bill to ensure a pensioner's concession card be suspended for 2 years, not cancelled, if their total income earnings taper their pension to nothing. This means that if a pensioner were to lose a consistent source of income or, for whatever reason, choose to get back on the pension, they should be able to transition back seamlessly through a less complex system, rather than having a go through the process of reapplying for a new pension with Services Australia. This also means that a pensioner is able to access the concession card to access cheaper health services and medicines, which I know pensioners fear they could lose access to should they take on additional work. With more and more GPs now having to turn away from bulk billing, basic health care services are becoming less affordable for pensioners. The first point of contact for their health issues is now becoming less accessible. GPs in my areas who still choose to bulk bill are being so inundated with patients that locals will have to wait weeks just to see them. The Australian Medical Association have told me that some of their doctors are at the point where they must stop bulk billing to run a financially sustainable medical centre, but refuse to do so as many of their elderly patients would opt to avoid seeing the doctor altogether if they need to pay out of pocket. The repercussions of stopping bulk billing in a low socioeconomic area like Fowler is detrimental to the overall health and well-being of our pensioner community. With cost of living pressures, we cannot expect seniors and pensioners to break their budget just to get the simple healthcare services. Giving pensioners the option to work would alleviate so much of the cost of living pressures they face today. These changes to the pension are imperative to ensure they can afford to access the healthcare they deserve, particularly as they grow older. As I would like to reiterate again, the government must ensure that both pensioners and businesses are informed of this new system, and they must be given the resources and assistance they need for a smooth transition to and off the pension. It's great that the government is extending the scheme until December 2023, but it also looks to include job seeker recipients as part of this scheme. Fowler has the 5th highest number of job seeker recipients in the country. A program like this could incentivise many to come off job seeker to work a few days, where they can earn some income and embed themselves in the local community and economy. In fact, 43% of job seekers are unable to work full-time and have a partial capacity to work due to disability or sickness, according to the Department of Social Services. However, some of these recipients are not eligible for disability pension. These individuals should be given the option of entering the workforce for part-time or casual work to top up their family budget, or put away savings for a rainy day, especially in these tough economic times. I understand the reasonings behind why the government is only holding this program to a limited group. I understand there is an immediate skills shortage that needs to be tackled. However, there is also a cost of living crisis that will go beyond the next 12 months. I hope that the government will consider extending the scheme indefinitely for specific sectors which face ongoing workforce shortages, including the health and disability sector. In the care sector alone, there are currently 74,000 job vacancies, according to the ABS. I know in my electorate of Fowler, aged care facilities not only need workers, but they need workers who can assist in our non-English speaking residents. With many bilingual pensioners who are ready and willing to work, it only makes sense that they should be given the opportunity to assist other elderly patients who struggle with English and would feel more comfortable dealing with a nurse who can speak their language. The government could do better for cold communities, and allowing pensioners to work in this sector could alleviate the strains our healthcare system is currently under, which also catering to the unique needs of my electorate. I know this scheme is one small step towards keeping our economy going, but in my opinion, the government needs to think bigger. I refer to a community member, Brian Kaur, who contacted my office imploring the government to allow seniors to work. He was concerned his superannuation could run out in his lifetime, leaving him without a sustainable income as he gets older. Brian believes that if he were given the opportunity to work, it would not only allow him to afford the bare basics, but also improves his quality of life by getting private health insurance or joining a gym. He says, and I quote, actively deterring potentially hundreds of thousands of people wanting to continue to contribute to the workforce is to the detrimental of all. The Treasurer has said time and time again that we need to be cutting corners to make up for the nearly $40 billion budget deficit that the previous government has left them. However, incentivising seniors to work is a ripe opportunity that would bring in huge amounts of revenue in income tax. In fact, a study by Deloitte shows that if we only have an additional 5% of Australians over the age of 55 back in the workforce, it would boost our economy by $48 billion. If we look towards countries like New Zealand, where pensioners are able to work freely as much as they want without it impacting their pension, it would encourage participation in the workforce and improve our economic standing as well. Deloitte's economic modelling found that a policy of an opt-in exemption from the income test would be cost-neutral if only 8.3% more pensioners re-entered the workforce or worked longer. Beyond this would be revenue positive. Pensioners in Fowler are suffering in this cost of living emergency.
Has expired. The question is that the amendment moved